Alright, Star Trek Beyond. First off, rest in peace to Alton Jovich, if I'm saying his name right or wrong, I'm sorry, who died after making this film. He died just a few weeks ago when his car backed into him and crushed him because of the parking device. It was just a freak accident. Ended up taking his life. I mean, he played a role with the 15-year-old kid. He played that role. That was the first time I ever seen him. And ever since then, I've been seeing him everywhere. With Justin Timberlake in his first feature film. And what is the name of that movie? My goodness. Fernando Vargas is in that movie too. But it was based on a true story where they end up killing the 15-year-old kid, holding him ransom in a very racist, rich area by this spoiled drug dealer's son. Alpha Dogs, that's it. And his name is Alton Yelchin. And he developed in a great actor. I mean, the kids knew him from doing Odd Thomas or Charlie Babbitt and all these other roles he's done. He's probably got a couple more projects coming up because he was becoming more and more in demand. And Star Trek, just kind of blew him up. Put him on the main scale, but let's go through the movie review of Star Trek Beyond. And let me start by saying Star Trek Beyond is a 3-star movie out of 4. That's how I rate my system. We use the Cisco and Ebert system. And I give it 3 out of 4 stars. And this is why I give it 3 out of 4 stars. It was the script writing. The comedy wasn't forced. You saw great relationships between the cast that didn't resemble, or didn't, not resemble, but resound around Kirk. It's like reside, rather. Okay, reside around Kirk. I'm tired. Forgive me. I've been up like 16 hours straight. Now, Kirk is contemplating retirement from Starfleet. He feel like the universe is endless. This is becoming, we are not discovering anything new. The galaxy is just an endless void, that just keeps going and going and going and going. And it's like, it's about time for me to just take the chair and stay in one place and live out my life there and let everybody else have the adventures. And he's ready to turn it over to Spock, who's thinking about retiring himself and leaving Starfleet to go start a family because his generation is fading, he thinks, so he thinks he needs to go mate with another Vulcan to keep the species alive. Whole lot of stuff was going on in here. Meanwhile, they have a problem. A new enemy, Krall. And Krall was playing by a character who seems to embellish playing the villain role. Idris Elba. And the reason I like this, and it's like they watched or listened to what the people said about Into Darkness and made an even epic film. Into Darkness failed to me compared to the first Star Trek film they did. It was good, but it had a lot of mistakes in it, a lot of flaws. And the main flaw was the villain. You're expecting Khan to be the main villain, and then in the end, he's like a tragic hero who's just lost his way, but this other madman RoboCop was the villain. And here you find another villain, but with a cause, with a reason. And his reason just doesn't align with Starship Federation or whatever. So the Federation and this character have different ideals. Captain Kirk has different ideals from him. Doesn't mean that this guy is wrong and he's just from a different era of way things were done. It's like the way things were in his world and how things in order and everything used to be dictated. He likes it that way. And now everything's more modern, more peace, and everybody. He doesn't want to live that way. He wants to live and roll back the clock to the way things used to be. And they get to see how he goes about doing that. But I like the development of Bones and Spock. That was great, teaming them up. And the dialogue of those two working together, it was excellent. It worked because it wasn't forced. You know, you got to see the development of other actors, like even Alton Yelchin. He was with Kirk most of the time, which is something you don't see because he's normally on the ship trying to make the ship work. Captain, the ship is at 60%. You know, that's all he normally says. And then Scotty, he's out there they're on foot, you know, moving around. From the trailers, you would think this movie was going to be trash. And I'm glad they learned from what they did from the last film. They didn't show too much. You know, I would have liked to seen Captain Kirk do what he normally does, and that's bang one of the lead aliens. That's what Captain Kirk's thing. Here, he seems to be passing chicks along to everybody. Like, y'all, I want my crew to hit. I'm good. I'm like, Kirk, look, you letting too much trim go by here. All this alien trim is walking around, and you're not hitting any of this? What is going on with Captain Kirk? You got to get in the game. Even Spock's got a chick. I'm like, Spock, I'm like, look, these women are crazy. I mean, Spock got women problems. And you Captain Kirk. You lead the way. The captain goes first. The crew picking up, Scotty getting up right. I'm like, wait a minute. Hey, this ain't Star Trek. That's not Captain Protocol. Now, in the beginning of this film, another flaw that I felt that it was a little forced. It was a little rushed in the beginning. Things was happening so fast, it was rushed. Then some of the action scenes are too much shaky cam, too much cut. You can't really follow what's going on. You're like, whoa, wait a minute. And then they finally got to do the scene that they wanted to do. That they said that Inception stole, well, it didn't steal it from them. They had a similar scene for their Star Trek film when Inception came out, when they were falling on the ceiling, you know, fighting and going up, falling on the ceiling, falling down, then they go in the elevator shaft in Inception. They had a scene similar to that for the first Star Trek, but they changed it due to the fact that Inception came out with almost a similar scene. So in this film, in the end, we see a similar situation like that. The fight sequence. So I said, well, they finally got to use that fight sequence. So, anyway, the movie overall pays great tribute to the former Spock, the old cast and crew. I think they did a good job doing that part. And the film itself does justice for Alton. It gave him more to do and more involvement in his role in the film. So, as an actor, he was able to display a lot more than what you're normally used to seeing him at. And the new character, the female character that they had, I can't remember her name right now, but they called her Lassie through the entire film. Come on, Lassie! And she was very interesting because she was really good with stuff, playing music, and they played a song that made me jump out of my chair. So that was a good homage to me, and I was very happy to hear it. So if you've seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like midway through the movie. And it's hard to do reviews like this because you don't want to tell too much. And you find out who she is, why she's there, her backstory, and what's interesting about her. And that's how I'm going to leave it. So you already know my rating. I'm out.